it's Kia from Petals Bath Boutique, and today I'm going to be making a soap. And this is the scent that I use for Purple Rain, but I'm doing a custom order for someone, and she wanted a lavender soap. Well, the colors would be lavender and cream with like silver glitter on top, and she wanted the English top hats, but she also wanted those in lavender. So I decided to use the same scent that I use for Purple Rain, because with all of the lavender, I just thought that would really go well, and it's a pretty popular scent, so it's a favorite with my customers, so I thought she would like that. So I'm just adding my live water now. And my oils here are cool. I accidentally let them get too cool. I had this out in the deep freezer to cool off, and it just took me longer to do the embeds than I thought it would. So the live water got completely cool. So right now, really my biggest fear is a false trace. And I've never soaped a batch this large before. I have to do like 50 bars. So I just want to make sure I don't get a false trace here. And this fragrance oil behaves pretty well. So, in fact, the last time I used it, my note said that although my oil seemed to want to go into a false trace, once the fragrance oil was added, I had almost too much working time. So my biggest fear here is just making sure I don't get that false trace. Like right now it's already thick, but I don't believe that this is a full trace yet, because my oils and my lye really are too cool. Lately I've been soaping at, still kind of at a room temperature, but more of a warm room temperature as opposed to like just straight cool. So just want to make sure I'm well blended here. I'm actually going to stop there just because it's already so thick. I'm going to go ahead and add the fragrance oil and see where that takes it. So just add in the fragrance, which I also use this to scent the top hats. When my mom was here, she reorganized things back here for me. And although she definitely did make everything make more sense, I'm having a difficult time finding where she put some of my things. And I can't call her right now. Bermuda actually just had a hurricane yesterday. And she did send me some emails, and she called me once during the storm. And then she sent an email to say that pretty much their power had gone out, and but that they were safe. So I know I won't be hearing from her probably for a couple of days. Okay, I'm still not happy with where my trace is, but pretty much what I'm going to do right now is just go ahead and separate some of it off. I mixed it up well, so I'm going to separate some of it off for the colors, and hopefully that'll allow me to work with it a little bit easier with some of it gone. Yeah, it's much better. So this is the cream portion, and pretty much I just took some yellow and mixed it with titanium dioxide. So hopefully this will give me a nice cream. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this a mix again. Definitely a more work size batch. And see, it's already, once adding the fragrance oil and mixing it, it's gone loose again. So I know I had a false trace earlier. Okay, I'm just going to mix the cream portion here. And normally I don't stick blend after adding my fragrance. At least I try not to. But I know that this is a fragrance oil that behaves well. So especially when it's at cool temps. So know it's safe to do this. So I'm going to add some purple to this, mix it up a bit, and then I'm going to add some white to make this lavender. And actually, it's already a pretty good lavender color, but I'm just going to add just a little bit of white. And I switched back to using the oil dispersible titanium dioxide, and I have to tell you, it's made a huge difference. I read a blog that someone had posted about titanium dioxide, you know, the glycerin rivers and things like that, the crackling effect, and her experiment showed that too much water in your batch seems to cause that crackling, the extra water. So when you do a discount, I guess that would help. But I would think that, because my problem started once I started using the water dispersible. So my guess is that extra water in it is what was causing the problem. So I've switched back to using the oil dispersible, and even in my wooden mold, I have not had any problems with crackling. I mean, and the crackling that is there, I mean, it's so minimal, you really wouldn't even notice it. It's nothing worth complaining about, you know, so. And this batch here does have a slight water discount. I think I did about 15%, that's all, so. And I actually want to get this to a pretty good trace. Normally I pour at a light to medium trace, but I want to get this to a medium to thick trace. So mix a bit on high. Make sure this is there. Oh, nice, nice. I want it more like pudding for this. Okay, so now I'm ready to pour. And Brandon was asking me a pretty good question during our transition here, and he was asking why. Did you ask?
What would happen if you pour it and it's too thick?
Oh, yeah. What would happen if I pour it if it's too thick? Traditionally, like when I was learning to make soap, most of the instructions told you to pour it like a really thick trace, like kind of a thick pudding. But so nothing really would happen. I think you risk more chance of getting air bubbles if it's too thick. And I'm not talking about a seize. I'm just talking about like a really thick trace. So you risk the chance of getting air bubbles, but for the most part, really nothing would be wrong. It just depends on what you're going for. For the most part, you know, my thing is swirls. So for my type of swirls, it's important that I have sort of a fluid look to it, if that makes sense. I like the swirls to look really swirly and not just you know, globs of color sitting on top of each other. Especially if you're working with a chopstick or something light like that. You know, if it's too thick, it's not really going to get through it and give you that really fluid look. So just because it's my personal preference for the type of looks that I like to go for in my soap. But technically, nothing's wrong with a thick trace. I mean, a really nice, like this is pretty thick here. Thick for me anyway. I've seen people pour a lot thicker than this, like really putting a really nice creamy look to it. But this is still pretty thick for me, but it's just thick enough that it'll sort of sit on top of the purple. Well, it'll be defined apart from the purple, but when I go to do the swirl, it'll still have a nice sort of fluid look to it. So I'm not doing layers here, so it doesn't matter if it sinks a little bit. The hardest part, I never pour this way, using all of my sections like this. So the biggest thing is just going to be making sure that each batch has the same amount of soap in them. That's going to be a challenge here. Make sure each one is the same size. And I don't want them to be the height of my normal bars. Because of the embeds, these are going to be thicker bars. So I want them to be a bit shorter than my regular batches. And just to make sure I'm working at the right height range, I'm going to get a bar of sugar plum, which I really like the height on these bars. Love the height and thickness here. And we're about there for each one of these. And it still should be thick enough to hold the embed. So looks like this one needs just a little bit more. This cream is looking more yellow than cream right now. But usually when I don't use a whole lot of yellow, it'll start yellow and then it'll start a sort of fade. So hopefully this will still have that fade on it. This is one time where I actually do kind of want it to fade just a little bit. Did you just yawn in my video? Am I boring you? Brandon is recording for me today. Still haven't found my tripod. Which I don't think I've posted. I'll probably post this video before the video where I talk about my missing tripod. But I lost my tripod. I didn't lose it. I think my mom moved it when she was rearranging things. And I need it and I can't find it. But she did a great job cleaning up Petals and organizing back here. Excellent job. Rest of this cream in, and so far it looks like I'm doing a pretty good job at keeping these even. Okay, and I'm going to do a spoon swirl, because it is my personal experience that when I try to use the chopstick in my narrow mold, I get that butterfly effect, which is really cool, you know, but not what I'm going for. I don't know if how many of you saw my breakfast at Tiffany's last year, but I was cutting the bars and a lot of the swirls were sort of on one side of each bar. And when you put them together, it looked like a butterfly, which is really cute, but not what I'm going for here. So for me, the easiest way when I'm using this particular mold to get an even swirl is to go ahead and just do a spoon swirl. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'll start here. And I don't know who doesn't know about the spoon swirl. I think everybody does, but pretty much what you're doing is just using your spoon to fold over your colors. And some people will do it in this direction and then go and do it in the opposite direction. Usually I'll just go in one direction. It depends. But for this one, I go in one direction, but I'll do 2 swirls per movement. I don't know. But it's pretty much, I'll do a deep one and then one in the center. A deep one more in the center. Deep, center. And you're just folding your colors over. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. If you can't see, blame Brandon. This is just such a fresh scent. For some reason, this summer, I just really got into fresh scents. They are my favorite right now. Cottontail, this, just did a batch of Aspen Hill for the holidays. Oh my goodness, I can't stop sniffing it. It's just so, just fresh. So I don't think this is thick enough right now for texturing. It's not. So I'll be right back. I'm going to let this firm up a little bit because I need to texture the tops a bit. And they need to be firm enough to hold the embed. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm just doing my top texturing to hold my hats, my embeds. I had to cut there for a second. We've been getting phone calls from family and friends wanting to know how my mom and them made out through that storm. Gonzales that came through? Gonzalo. Yeah, so she had a friend that was supposed to meet her over in Bermuda on a cruise. And they didn't cancel the cruise, but they decided to take everyone to Nova Scotia instead, so she was kind of upset about that. She packed for the tropics, not for Canada's weather, so. Alright, so this actually right here is the perfect texturing texture. When I did the first 2, it wasn't quite this stiff, but this right here is perfect. I wish it could always be like this when I texture. So I'm going to put the embeds right in the center there. Alright, so here are my lavender top hats. And I'll probably speed the camera up, the video up for this part. Don't want to bore you with the placement of the hats at regular speed. So I'll stop talking now. So got the embeds on, and now I'm going to do a sprinkling of silver glitter, which is this here, and I pretty much just took iridescent glitter, mixed it with some black glitter and some iridescent mica. She wanted just a sprinkling of silver on top. I was really hoping that she would want a silver swirl, since I figured out how to make a silver color. Pretty excited to play around with that, but she just wanted some silver glitter. So Let's just do that. Okay, so I want a little bit more sparkle here, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of the iridescent glitter to the top. Okay, a little spritz with alcohol. And I'll cover this with some plastic wrap tonight to make sure I don't get any ash, and I'll be back tomorrow with a cutting video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.